So you found some free money, you have a grant you want to apply for, but how do you win it? How do you close the deal? I'm going to show you how. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Akeem Shannon, founder and creator of Flipstik. Welcome to our channel. I hope you enjoy what we got in store for you today. If you're new here, we appreciate you joining us. I think you'll like it. And if you're coming back, thanks for coming back. I appreciate it. If you like what we do here, feel free to like and subscribe. We talk about entrepreneurship, business, getting free money, getting grant money. And today we're going to be talking about how to put together a pitch for a grant competition, a pitch competition, an accelerator, whatever. These have worked pretty well for us. We made it on Shark Tank. We've won over $110,000 in grant money. So I'm going to share all the secrets with you today. Cool. So the first thing I wanted to do is go through with like a simple one-page grant application. These are usually going to be things that like a single company does because they want to just say, hey, we're helping small businesses, which is awesome. A lot of times they're going to want one page because they're going to get a lot of applicants. You know, I've seen FedEx do this. We won a couple from like American Express, a couple other companies and stuff. So these one pages are great because they don't take a lot of time, but you have to make sure you can really cut through the noise because they get a lot of applications for these. So the first one that I'm going to show you here is one for Hilton. So Hilton, they probably have tons of these, but this particular one is for minority businesses. So you'll see here, I put together something really colorful to send to them. Now they asked for a Word document, but I wanted to make something that I knew was gonna get their attention. It was gonna stand out against everyone else. That's number one. Like you want your stuff to look in a way that they're attracted to it and they want to watch it. They want to see what it's about. Like, oh, what is this? This looks different than all the other pieces of paper that I have that look like somebody's resume from 2002. So as you see here, I have like a photo of myself. I talk about our certifications because we're a minority-owned business. I talked about in another video about getting certified if you're a minority business, so make sure you check that video out. And you see I kind of broke it out into a couple different categories here. So we have a summary. This is one sentence, explain what you do real quick. So you see here, I just say, Flipstik is a technology company that uses NASA's adhesive research to create consumer goods, beginning with our namesake product, the Flipstik, which allows you to stick your phone to virtually any flat surface for hands-free use. Cut and dry, get to the point, let them know what it is. So if they're still interested, they'll read down the rest of the page. So you see I go into an about section. Here, I tell a story. Look, you can have the greatest idea in the world, but at the end of the day, the people who are giving away money, the people who are going to let you into their accelerator program, they want to hear your story. They want to feel invested. They want it to be interesting. They want you to explain to them how you got started and why it matters. And that's where I go into here. I talk about, how I was on a late night call, working with my uncle at NASA, how I had dropped out of school because I lost my scholarship, all this stuff to make them feel like, wow, like, this person is someone who overcomes obstacles. Like, if we give him this money, it's going to go to good use. And I want to say this one was for like $10,000. Then I have like a special section here that talks about specifically their industry and why their company should give us this grant. So, if you're talking to a shipping company, you want to talk about how you fit into their industry. If you're talking to a bank, you want to talk about how you fit in their industry. So for Hilton, we talked about how, hey, people are on vacation. They want to capture the moment that they're in. Like they can use Flipstik in and around the hotel, around the resort, by the pool. They can stick their phone. They can capture it. They can tag Hilton. And we can put your logo on the back of all of your guest phones. So they're thinking about their hotel experience long after when they left the hotel. So, and you see I even like highlight it because I want that to jump out in the middle of the page like, hey, you're Hilton. This is why Hilton should give us money. And then I go into a little bit of like why us, what we're doing this for. People want to know like, okay, are you doing this so you can get rich? Are you doing this so you can pay your bills? Are you doing this, for power, for money, for influence? Like why? So I talk about why and talk about how I like to give back, how I like to, volunteer my time, the organizations I volunteer for, to let them know like, hey, like this is about more than just, money. Like this is about like really reinvesting back in the community because they're giving money away. So for them, like while Hilton makes billions of dollars, like they want to invest in somebody who's going to amplify their investment. And part of that is making money, but part of that is investing in the community as well too. And then lastly, I have use of funds to let them know, hey, here's what I'm going to spend your money on. So I have that information in here. And I also included a link to a video. Like they didn't ask for a video, but I typically find like send videos. Like video is personal. They get to see your face. They can see your personality. And you want to show that out even when you're in a situation where someone just asked for documents. Like send a video, even if they don't ask for it. And a lot of people, especially when you're going up in the amount of money you're getting, they're gonna want a video and they're gonna want a full deck. So that's actually what I'm gonna show you next. So the next thing we have here, this is our pitch deck for an UMSL grant that we won. So this was for $50,000. This was actually our final deck at the end of the program, not the beginning. It's pretty similar to the one we did at the beginning, but it looks a lot prettier. And I mentioned on the last one, graphics, like make something that's gonna be appealing. No one wants to look at, 2002 Clippy's version of a PowerPoint presentation with impact font, the word art. No one wants to see that. Like no one's going to look at it. Like they're just going to be like, okay, yeah, fine, delete. Like make it pretty. I actually did both of these in a program called Canva. It's a free platform where you can do all kinds of design stuff. And if you're interested in learning just like how you can use a program like Canva, just make sure you drop a comment below and I'll kind of walk you guys through what all I've used that for, because I've used it for so much stuff. So you see here, I start off, I have my title. Next thing, problem. So when you're doing like a full pitch deck, the first thing you want to start off with is the problem. What is the issue that made you start your business idea, service, whatever have you? For Flipstik, it's like, hey, we're using our phone all the time. We're on Netflix, we're on Zoom, we're on TikTok, we're doing all this stuff, but we can't use our phones hands-free. How can we use our phones hands-free so we can take it out of our hand and actually like be able to enjoy it? Then I present the solution. The solution is always your product. You know this best, and you just want to say it in a way that's exciting. You'll notice here, I have pretty much just headlines. Like I don't have a lot of text in here. Like it's pretty much just images and the headlines. And that's because you want to present yourself. Like you want to talk to people when you give a slide deck. Sometimes that's not an option. Sometimes you like really need to bullet out all the details in these slides. But like I say, video. When you get to this stage, they're almost certainly want to do a video, and eventually they're going to ask you to present this live in front of a panel of judges. And so when you're presenting that, you want this to be visual and you want their focus to be on you and your co-founders. Like that's the most important thing. Then I go into the story. Everyone likes a good story. It's the most important part. I always say it. I talk about how we got started and I talk about how it's going so they can know like where I've come from, and to know like, hey, this is not the beginning. Like here's where we're at and here's how far we've come. So giving them the background that helped you come up with your idea is huge. Everyone likes that. Then I talk about the market. So, a lot of people make a mistake on this slide. They go too big. You see this $72 billion amount here? That's nonsense, okay? No one thinks Flipstik is going to make $72 billion. No one thinks that Flipstik is going to capture 1% of a $72 billion market. It's nonsense. What you want to do is you want to create realistic expectations of what your market size is. So it's like if you have a hair care product, even though the hair care industry may be, a $30 billion industry in the US alone, you're not getting 1% of the market, not yet. So you want to focus it down and pare it down. So you see, I go from a worldwide market to the US market to one of our main competitors. And I talk about how much money they make versus how much money they used to make. And it really pares it down. So it says, hey, this company, very similar to us, had made $236,000 a year in 2015. By 2018, they were making $200 million a year out of a $26 billion market. That's a real number. and they can connect the dots and say, oh, that means if we give you our money in 3 years, you may be able to go from X to X. Very important. Then I tie that right into competition. So on this slide, you may think, everyone thinks that their product has no competition. But truth be told, every product has competition. Even if the competition is just people doing it the way they've been doing it for years, even though it's not the best way to do it. So as you see here, we kind of talk about pop socket. We talk about having no accessory on your phone, which is competition. Lots of people just go without anything. And we just talk about what our strengths are. You want to pad this one a little bit. You want to show all your strengths and make sure they're all the weaknesses of your competitors. But you also want to be a little bit fair too. So we kind of break that down in this slide. Like I said, make it colorful. Then one thing that you'll often get asked for, and so I just learned to start putting it in my pitch deck, was what's an obstacle that you've overcome? A lot of people don't put this into their pitches, but I find that it's huge because it lets people know like your drive for your business. So here I talk about COVID. Right now, pretty much every business has faced issues with COVID. So really just coming forward and saying what that's about is a great idea. And it also lets you easily tell a nice win story because you can set it up for, hey, here's how we struggled, and then you can set it up for here's how we excel. Next thing I get into, and what most will ask you for, is your traction. So the first thing I start talking about on traction is partnerships. So I do a couple name drops. If you have celebrities that are in your product, definitely show that. If you have big influencers that have used your product, posted about your product, show that. If you have retail deals, distribution, big sales, all that kind of stuff, put that into these partnership slides to say, hey, like, it's not just me and my mom that like this. Like, there's real people out here. Here's some of them. Continuing on our traction side, I talk about Shark Tank, how we're on there. Like I said, right here, we're just listing our big accomplishments that we got. And because this was for the UMSL program, I talked about UMSL and how big of an impact it had on our business. If you've been a part of any accelerators prior to the one you're applying for, feel free to put that in there as well too. And then once you hit your traction, this is another good one, charts. So people want numbers. And, I like to be very visual and I just like to rattle the numbers off because I memorize my entire pitch. But you want to show hard numbers. So here you can see what our sales were over the last 3 years. And you can see it goes from 0 sales to, 4,000 to 10,000 to 30,000 to 50,000. And I also give a visual to say like, hey, we sold 50,000 units. That many phones stacked high would equal the Empire State Building. So I make it fun, something to let people really visualize, wow, this person's come a long way on their own. And you want to do that too. And numbers don't always have to be, dollars or units sold. If you have an app idea, it may just be installs. It may be the number of people who have beta tested your product. It may be the number of 5-star reviews you've gotten. Like it can be any type of numbers, but you just want to make numbers to show like, hey, your chart is going up and to the right. Like that's the key. And lastly, just a summary slide. So in this one, this was a pitch to people at the end of this program. So we offered a discount code, referrals for businesses, and the contact information. Depending on the type of pitch this may be, you may want to have just your contact info. You may want to have information about investment if it's for some type of investment. But this is just a summary slide. Everyone knows how to do a contact summary slide with questions. And yeah, that's it. You see, like, this is literally 12 slides, like super simple, to the point. But this kind of stuff is what works. So yeah, that is a little bit of in-depth on what's worked for us for pitch competitions. Like I said, we've won over $110,000 doing just this, and then pitching. Actually just getting in front of people, saying what we have to say, and going through this process. So this one I know this had a lot of info. So I hope you take some time to unpack it. If you enjoyed it, feel free to tune in to any of our other videos. Feel free to like and subscribe this video. Leave a comment below if you have any feedback or questions. And like I said, if you like the way these slides look and you want, your applications and your slide decks, your pitch decks to look this way, I can do a tutorial for you guys on kind of how we created this without Photoshop, without a whole lot of, technical know-how, how you can kind of put this stuff together. But other than that, until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.